Hey there. Welcome back. This is New America Now. We've got I'm answering a question from a number of people who have, through different avenues, have had the same idea. A lot of people are very nervous about, gee, what if, this stimulus plan doesn't work? And there's a lot of talk about the hyperinflation situation. And, uh, how do you deal with that in the long term? What if it happens? What if the economy goes bust? And there's a lot of folks really sweating about this. We've bounced back from a lot of things before, but if it makes people feel any better, it's a smart thing to prepare for what you can prepare for. That's what the topic of this discussion is: kind of survival in the post. The post-stimulus failure, hyperinflation or inflation, just plain old inflation scenario. What should you be doing? I would think that, you should probably put some food, extra food in your shelf if that makes you feel a little better. There's plenty of, retail stores that are still pretty cheap and trying to sell some things, and keeping rice and things like that around, especially if you have children. And it's always a good idea to have extra food, and especially with unemployment rising. You don't know if you're going to be next, or anything can happen. You bust your leg and you're out of a job and you can't get another job for a while. At least that's one less headache on the table. You don't have to supply yourself with food. So that'd be a good idea. Now, there's a difference. Everybody has their own means, and some people are living paycheck to paycheck. So how do you do this? Well, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you do it slow. You buy a couple extra cans of beans, or some rice, and you put it away for a rainy day. And eventually you're going to eat this stuff. You dip into it when you need it, or if it's going to get too old, and you keep an eye on it. So if you really want to go a little bit farther, you can, depending on where you are. If you're in a city, obviously you're more limited because of zoning and other restrictions, but you can make yourself a little fire escape garden out of milk containers or something. Little pots. Tomatoes grow real quick. You get a little something, maybe some corn plants and some buckets, and you get a little corn. It makes you feel a little better to have that type of thing. So rooftop gardens, backyards, same thing. You can, if in places, if you're in the country, in your or a rural area, you might consider getting some chickens for some eggs. Plus, it gives you a number of commodities in case hyperinflation situations arise. So you can get you get money for the eggs. You can eat them. You can eat the chickens, and you can sell the manure to somebody who's growing some vegetables. So you have a number of commodities to work for, and that's what you really have to think. This is the Boy Scout mentality. This is always be prepared. So if you're really that concerned, then do something about it. Just don't be a victim. I've never been a victim, and I don't think you should be either. If that's what you feel, I'm not saying that this is going to happen or not going to happen, and I'm not an anarchist, and I'm going to buy a bunker and sit inside of it. But if you really feel like you need to do something to be proactive, go ahead and do that. If you even want to get yourself a couple of goats, 2 females and a male, rabbits or something like that. Rabbits produce meat, produce fur, produce fertilizer. So you've got, again, 3 commodity animal. Rabbits can be kept in a small enclosure, at least for the time being, until you have 1 million rabbits. They reproduce, I guess, what's what they say about rabbits, right? So, that's something to think about. That I guess you can keep in a city if nobody finds out. You keep them clean. And the feed, I've heard you can feed rabbits, dairy cattle feed that costs $12 for 100 pounds. So, you know, that type of stuff. That's doable. You know, you don't want to feed them the gourmet stuff you get at the pet shop, that's for sure, because then you're just throwing money away. Goats, as I said, you've got, that's another, you know, most of the world, I think, drinks milk from goats and not cows. I think the United States is the only one where that isn't the case. So, why? Because goats can be kept in a small area. You get more milk, more produce per dollar than you do for a cow. So it's an economic thing. So you can, again, you can dairy cattle feed $12 for 100 pounds. You feed a goat for a while on $12. You can't even feed yourself for $12 for very long. But you get goats. I was just reading the other day. You know, you can get half a gallon to a gallon and a half of milk per goat per day. That's a lot of milk, and it doesn't need to be pasteurized. So look at that. You make cheese. So you got milk, you got cheese, you got meat, you got manure. You got 4 commodities out of that one animal. So that's what you have to think. You know, keep food, keep things to trade. I don't know. Talking about some folks mentioned, should I buy gold or should I buy silver? Listen, if I can't eat it, I don't really want it personally. I mean, I may have some gold around, you know, but I think that you'd have to have so much gold, and then you'd have to have somebody to buy the gold. So if everybody's suffering from the same malady, they're not going to want gold. They're going to want something else. I mean, unless you get some guy walking by who's the gold guy, you know, gold and silver. You know, I don't know. You can go that route. Other people have said, you know, yeah, that's going to go sky high. You know, something is only worth what someone else is willing to pay for it. So always keep that in mind. I'd rather have a bullet than gold. And that leads me to my next thing. So if you're really that concerned, practice your Second Amendment right. If you feel comfortable doing that. If you feel like you're going to shoot the big toe off your foot, don't do it. So because I wouldn't want you to hurt yourself or anybody else. So, but if you feel comfortable with that, and you feel that that's a good thing to have around, and you're a legal citizen and you pass all the laws and regulations that you should have in order to acquire these things, then by all means, you know, be an American and practice your rights. And so that's always a good idea to protect yourself, obviously. And so, you know, those type of things that you can do. So, you know, because psychologically this can be very daunting. You're hearing all this news, and you're getting, you know, a lot of people worried, a lot of people with children. Especially if you have children, you should have extra food around. In case times get tough, lose a job, you don't have to worry about these things. So, you know, these are common sense things. You know, I'm not going to be upset when things go fine. But if things don't go fine, then, you know, it's nice to have these extra things around. Camping supplies are always nice, so that you can cook, you know, and you have candles around in case there's no electricity, those type of things. You know, if you're in a tornado zone, or if you're in a hurricane-prone area, or you never know. There's lots of different kinds of emergencies besides, you know, economic collapse and hyperinflation. I'm not going to say one thing's going to happen or not. I'm just discussing things that you can proactively do that make you feel comfortable about how prepared you are. And if you feel comfortable, then psychologically you're in a better place. So, and I think I'm going to leave a video because I've had other questions about depression and as a result of all this bad news and what we need to do. So that's going to be the topic of another one. So if you have any questions, anything to add, I'm sure, you know, everybody's going to want to hear different takes on it. Mine is not the only take, obviously, but that's my take. So drop me a line, subscribe. I'll talk to you later. All right, bye.